Sean, I feel like it's been forever, and I guess it actually has been forever. So first of all, Happy New Year. It's March, so I'm very late, but I have been active on my Instagram, so if you are not following me on there, please do. I feel like that's where you'll see me most active, whereas YouTube is more of a secondary place. However, it is my goal in 2020 to be a lot more active on this channel. I have some updates. I will do like a full life update video, but in this video we are going to talk about intentional about leading a life of less stress and more joy, because when we approach things with less stress, we are more calm, we give ourselves the time and the patience that we deserve to think things through, to be more rational, and to make smarter decisions. And so this video is all about how I'm choosing to live life with less stress and more joy in 2020. Right, now the first one is really catered to my entrepreneurs out there. If you're somebody who has maybe taken the leap, left your job, and you have gone on your entrepreneurial journey, and you find yourself in that situation that every new entrepreneur kind of finds themselves in. You have your high success modes, and then you have your times where you're not doing all as well as you'd like to. That's a very unstable lifestyle to live. And for me personally, I left my full-time job probably about 2 years ago to pursue my own business. I feel like at that time in my life, it was important for me to take a break from nannying, because I nannied full-time, and while I did love it, I found myself in a place where, not that I wasn't enjoying it, but I had found myself in a place where I felt like I had to pick between my passion and then like working for someone. And so I took the leap, I left my job, and I really think that, and this is just me being transparent, I think that I got comfortable. I was making enough to kind of support myself, and then enough to kind of pour into the business, but not enough, looking back, not enough to really scale the business. So what I found myself in, when I found myself in that position, I realized that I was more stressed out. I was wondering how I was going to be able to scale my business while also supporting myself. And I realized the smart thing for me to do was I needed to sit down and realize exactly what made the most sense for me. What were my long-term goals? So for me personally, after writing down my goals, knowing that I wanted to pay off my debt, knowing that I wanted to really grow my businesses and other entrepreneurial projects that I was starting along the way, I knew the best decision for me was to actually get a stable job. But it couldn't be just any stable job. It had to be one that really brought me joy, one that I looked forward to going to, one that I could really perform at and give it my all, but not one that was so stressful and demanding that I felt like I had to abandon my side hustles all for this stable job. Because entrepreneurship, you guys, in the beginning, it can be stressful. Sometimes we can prematurely leave stable jobs that allow us to save, that allow us to fund those businesses, especially when you're young and you have the energy and you can do those things. Definitely get you a stable job. So that's the first way for me personally that I decided at the beginning of this year to do it. That's actually an update too. It's a tip and it's an update. The next one is actually going to be in regards to finances. Now, I told you guys in my first tip that I had to reanalyze like exactly what my goals were, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to accomplish this year, and actually it really was focused on finances. This is something that my girlfriends and I talk a lot about. We talk about how we want to pay off debt. We talk about financial freedom. And one of those big things in regards to saving more money has to do with cutting a lot of your expenses. I don't know if you guys have done this lately, but I really encourage you to print off your statements and to look at some of the automatic transactions that you're making. You will be surprised at how fast Apple iTunes, Apple Music membership subscriptions add up. You'll be surprised at those Netflix, those Hulu memberships. The tricky thing is they're so cheap individually that it seems like you're really not spending a lot of money. But those purchases, even admittedly, I know I'm guilty of this, but Starbucks expenses, those things add up to where you end up saving so much money when you really look at what's going out and you can control what's going out by eliminating a lot of them. So yes, for some of us, for most of us, that's gonna mean picking and choosing between Netflix and Hulu or HBO, because Insecure is coming back on, so you gotta have that, at least for April. Alright, so the next way that I'm living my life with less stress and more joy is by working out. Woo! Now, it's very logical, it makes sense. Working out is a stress reliever, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this just isn't something that comes natural to me. Not to say that I'm a very sedentary person, being a nanny, you're very active, especially if you nanny kids under the age 5 and under. You're constantly following up after them. You're taking them to different places, carrying them. It's a lot of activity that's involved with being a nanny. And so being active is not a hard thing for me. It's about being consistent and prioritizing physical therapy, working out, exercising, and being intentional about fitness. And I feel like for me, consciously, when I focus so much on fitness, my mind does something where it just like is not interested, and then it just, my body never wants to get up. It's easy for me to make excuses, and then that alone stresses me out. So for me personally, I've had to take baby steps in terms of the types of workouts that I do. I try to ease into my week, but truly, once I get a groove going, and once I actually start working out, truly it is a stress reliever, and it's such a great way to start your mornings. It's very hard to be consistent, especially in the beginning, especially if you have to wake up early, if you have other commitments later on in the day. But truly, it's such an accomplishment when you get that one thing out of the way. Even if you just did 10 minutes, y'all. 10 minutes of going hard at physical activity and working out, it definitely gives you joy because you've accomplished something, especially something that you really don't want to do. And for me, it's the consistency thing. But that is definitely something that I'm trying to make, not even just intentional, just something that is a way of life, the way brushing my teeth and showering is. So, all right, so the next one is just truly about priorities. Priorities, priorities, priorities. So prioritizing what has to get done this month. And for creatives who are always creating things, who have all these great ideas, sometimes it's easy, well, oftentimes it's easy to get distracted, and it's easy to put your focus into things that are probably not the most important for that time. And so when you have a lot of stuff going on, that's a great thing. I think it's such a great time in our lives to be able to have these side hustles and these full-time gigs and then make time for your family. But if you don't prioritize things that have to get done, you can find yourself dedicating too much time to the wrong thing. So prioritize, prioritize, and that is going to eliminate so much stress in your life because you're giving yourself the opportunity to do the things that you want to do, but prioritizing what needs to get done first. Hold on, we need coffee. All right, the next one is kind of like a piggyback off of prioritize, but it's different. I'll explain. It's plan ahead as much as you can. I think these go hand in hand, but they're worth separating because they require separate actions. If I don't plan ahead in advance to the best of my ability, then what happens is if a friend of mine is like, hey, do you want to go to brunch on Sunday? If I haven't prioritized already like what needs to get done that month, even if it's like budgeting or planning for different events, then I'm going all over the place and going to brunch when I should be working on my projects or a blog post or whatever that is. So planning ahead as much as you can for things that you want to do is going to make prioritizing so much better too, and vice versa, because if you prioritize, you know what you need to plan ahead for. So plan ahead as much as you can. And okay, so the next one, this one actually should be number 1. And this is what I'm doing for me personally: praying. Pray, pray, pray. And the reason why I said this should actually be number 1 is because I like to be led by the Spirit. I like for God to really order the way that my day is supposed to go. When I'm having challenges, I want to be led in wisdom and how He wants me to move. I just really encourage, well, for me personally, I'm praying, and I think that that's what anybody who is also a believer, if you find yourself in those types of challenges and you're not sure, or even if you feel like you are sure, I think that it's so easy for us to just like make natural decisions in and of ourselves. So we always have to kind of do a self-check and just ask ourselves, like, did I pray about this? Like, ask God and He'll confirm it and He'll lead you, and it won't be confusing. It'll just flow naturally. So yes. All right, you guys, we're getting through. We're getting through. I was gonna make this video 10 ways I'm living with life with less stress and more joy, but I didn't want pressure. Like, I didn't want to make up stuff and realize like, oh wow, I only have 5 things or 6 things. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just give the tips as is and see what number we come up with. All right, so the next one is save your coins and budget. There's a YouTube video of me probably, I think this was probably like, I want to say maybe like, okay, between like 6 and 7 years ago. There's a YouTube video of me. I can't find it. If I find it, I'll link it here, or I'll even like insert it in the video. But it's of me 6 or 7 years ago, I like found out about Dave Ramsey, and I was obsessed with him. I would listen to his radio show every single afternoon. I was a full-time nanny personal assistant at the time, and at 2 o'clock he would always come on and I would listen to him right before I had to pick up the kids from school. So I really got like on this debt freedom train and loved Dave Ramsey. I used to buy his products, the envelope system, I'd buy all his books. I've read Leadership, I've read Total Money Makeover. I even considered joining one of his Financial Peace University classes. I never did, but I was on this like huge thing about budgeting. But I want to be completely honest with you guys, I've never really practiced those principles that he used to talk about. And I really don't understand why. I feel like in business, and at work, I was really good at budgeting other people's money and following a system. But in my own life, I don't know what it was. I think for me, it's hard. Like when you work in a domestic style industry, it's very similar to your personal life. Like you're working in the home, you're handling finances, you're going grocery shopping, you're running errands, you're making lists, da 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 da. And I think for me, in my personal life, doing that felt like work because I was already doing it at work. So it was like I was establishing and developing these skills that I was applying in my professional life, but in my personal life, it was just not clicking. I don't know, y'all. I really don't know. All I know is that I didn't really practice this budgeting attitude and this budgeting mindset in the best way possible. I'm sure like I had spurts where I was a better budgeter than other times, but I feel like it wasn't until really last year into this year that I've learned the value, the importance, the benefits that come from budgeting. And so for me, budgeting is huge because I want to be intentional with my spending, and I also know that I have a goal of being debt-free by 30. So with having that goal in mind, you have to budget, and budgeting is not saying like be frugal and be cheap and not have fun and not go out. It's just about being smart with your money and knowing where every dollar is being spent. And I can tell you guys that like ever since then, knowing where I am predominantly spending my coins and where it's going, it makes you think and look at your personal finances better. You treat it like you would a credit card. Like, you know, you treat your own money like you're giving yourself a line of credit. And so that's just something that I'm trying to continue to make more of a habit. And so that's something that's another way to be less stressful in 2020, because listen, like when your finances are out of whack, when you don't have enough money to pay your bills, when you don't know like where your money has gone, like how you spend $500 in a week, it's stressful because it's like you make this money, you work this job, you build this business, you bring in this money, and you look back and you're like, I have brought in all this money, but I have nothing to show for it. So that's stressful. And then it's like you can't even utilize the income that you're bringing in. And a lot of that just simply comes from poor budgeting. And so for me, one of the biggest ways is budgeting, you guys. Budget, budget, budget. Some of the richest people have the best budgets, just saying. The next thing, guys, is make time for you. Intentional me time, whether you are a parent, a young professional, if you are newly married, a student, I don't care who you are, me time and making that a priority is so important because you are your best appointment that you should never cancel on. Think about the things that make you happy. Think about the things that are not really anything that's attached to making or generating income, but something that's about generating peace of mind, relaxation. You guys know that I've been an ambassador for Hiatus Spa here in San Antonio, Texas, and it has been an amazing journey just talking about the importance of me time. That is a huge mission for them. They are all about making me time, making spa, relaxation, and self-care accessible to everyone. So they have a subscription that's in place, H Circle, and it allows you to pay a monthly subscription and you can have one essential service. And those things range from a massage, a mani-pedi, facials, you can add additional things to that, and it's all under $70 a month. I absolutely love it. I'm a huge advocate for me time, and it's something to look forward to. Even if it's going for a hike outside, something that's really going to allow you to escape and to just kind of like relax. The next thing that is kind of hand in hand with that too is going to be looking into therapy. It's been a goal for me to find a therapist. A lot of people don't know this, but probably about 3 to 5 years ago, I really struggled with anxiety and panic attacks. I used to have crazy panic attacks. I thought I was having heart attacks. I would go to the doctor, I would ask them to check me, get CT scans. It was ridiculous. And I felt like I was living in this like jail of stress and worry, and I couldn't be happy. And the church that I was attending at the time, I actually would get therapy from the pastor. And we really worked through like detoxing, unraveling what was going on and why I was having those anxiety attacks. And it was really a fear-based form of anxiety, which a lot of people have. Look at what's going on with the coronavirus. Everybody is panicking. We're all scared to be around each other. We're just kind of being infused with fear on a daily basis. And that is a huge trigger for anxiety for many people. And if you've ever had a panic attack, then you know that like it's an experience that makes you feel like you're about to die. So I just credit a lot of my conquering of anxiety to the therapy that I went to with my former pastor. And it also made my relationship with God a lot stronger. And so it's been years since I've had therapy, but I feel like, you know what? I don't only have to go to therapy just for like when something is not going right in my life. I can be going to therapy when things are right in my life as well. That's another way that I am actually looking to live life with less stress and more joy. This is actually the last one, and that is rest easy and rest often. Now, have y'all ever taken a nap or laid down and really felt like guilty about it? Like, I feel like for me, if I take a nap for too long, sometimes I feel like I should be doing something. It's like you're laying down, but you're not truly at rest. And I'm a believer, and the Bible always says to cast all your cares on Him because He cares for you. He understands me. He's our creator. He created us. So He knows that our bodies are not designed to carry over stress. That's why Jesus came to carry it for us. And so because of that, we have to remember that like when we carry so much stress in our lives, it's impossible for us to be happy because our body is constantly tense. Our body is constantly like in this state of fight or flight. And so a big thing that's gonna help us with that is by making rest a habit, not just going to sleep for a couple hours. You truly have to value stress because because when you're sleeping, that's when our body is recovering from the day. That's when our body is healing itself. And that's when we are ready to kind of be re-energized so that we can wake up early and work out, so that we can go and conquer the rest of the day. But I think that resting easy and resting often has to be something that we make more normal. A lot of times, especially for entrepreneurs, it is just common to preach this whole like you rest when you're old and when you're successful, but being intentional and being strict about going to sleep is extremely important, and it puts our body at ease and it makes us a lot more happy. Definitely for somebody like me, because if I don't get enough sleep, I'm definitely groggy, I'm hangry, I'm moody. It's not good. It's not good. So there is that. That is how I'm choosing to live my life with less stress and more joy, regardless of any virus, of any pandemic, of any, I don't know, storms, natural disasters. It's not something that you have to think about being perfect about. We're not going to get it right all the time, but it is something that is worth being intentional about. So I hope you guys enjoyed what I decided to share on how I'm living life with less stress. Thank you guys again for subscribing, for supporting. I hope you like this video. Please leave me feedback. And also let me know what you guys would be interested in seeing in regards to less stress and more joy. And let me know in the comments how you guys are living life with less stress and more joy. Until next time, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to follow me on Instagram so that we can stay connected. See you guys soon.